Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Lisa with Lisa's Faith and Budget Planning channel. I'm excited to be here today. I'm excited to be here with you getting into my Paycheck 1 closeout and my Paycheck 2 setup. This is how I keep track of the income that comes in and the expenses that go out and make sure that it is spread out evenly throughout the entire month, because 80% of our income actually comes in the beginning of the month. So I have to make sure I have enough to cover everything, and that's what we're going to go over today. There are some increases in income here, and I've written some notes down for that, and we are going to go ahead and go through the numbers. So first thing I'm going to do is close out Paycheck 1. I'm going to go ahead and get this page set up, and I'll be right back. So as you can see here, I have several streams of income that come in early in the month, usually the last day of the previous month and the first day of the next month, depending on weekends and holidays. So it gets a little confusing, but I just all count it like Paycheck 1 and day 1 of the new month, and it works for us. So 80% of our income, as I said before, comes at the beginning of the month. Military retirement, I think it was a 3, I don't know if it's before or after taxes. So if it was after tax, we got a 2.5% raise. If we're talking about before tax, I thought it was a 3%. So I'm not sure, but it averages out across the board that my husband's military retirement cost of living adjustment went up by $45.15, which was 2.5% of the previous income of the previous year. So I used last year's numbers to start with, and then once I got the new numbers, then I increased it, and these are the numbers I'll be going with going forward. My son also gets a deposit every month from SSI, which is Supplemental Security Income, and because of his autism and things like that, this is how he takes care of himself. He pays us rent, we buy the groceries to cover all the bills and all the things. So that is what we have here, and that went up actually 2.5% as well. I used to use $803 as his rent. Now it is $827. He still gets to keep $140 a month in his checking account, and he can use that to buy clothes or video games, or if we take him out somewhere and he wants to spend his own money on something, he can do whatever he wants. So that is his to spend. They highly encourage that if that's possible, and that's just how our family runs that income stream right there. My husband's salary check was 9 cents less than I expected, but that's okay. It's 9 pennies. It's not that big a deal. We're not getting anything extra that popped up, so 0 in other, and we did not balance forward any money from December of 24 to January of 25. So we started the month completely no balance forward happening. So that was fine there. And I'm just going to draw a line there. I don't worry about that at all. Some people like to total the income if it's up and down or whatever like that, but I don't really need to see the numbers. I just wrote over here. Normally I just do either check marks if it's the same as what I wrote, or plus or minus if it's higher or lower than what I wrote. And that's all I really want to know. We did get 2 pennies in dividends to our checking account, so I just added it to the rent that we get from our son, and that way it doesn't have to have its own line item. So I have a new total here as far as how much we actually got in income, because it did go up some, and I'm glad it did, but it's not like it was a whole lot, but it's something. So we're going to go ahead and total these numbers up. Okay, so our new number as far as income is $6,675.16. There we go. So obviously there is an increase between these two, and we'll just do a quick number here and see how much that is. And it was $109.13 increase. So it was nice to get an extra almost $110 there, so that's really good. It does help out with the things that we're doing. I restructured my tithing, where we're just doing 2 tithing checks a month as well as 1 missionary tithe, and combined it all together, especially since the food bank and the pregnancy help center that I was giving to before regularly, we dropped that and we're going to give to when we have extra. And if we have extra. That's the hard part, because this is like not a lot of income to cover everything as far as tithing and stuff like that, because we had to start contributing to our Roths, and we just needed the money to take care of ourselves so we wouldn't go into destitute and need some of those services. So but our church does give, and then we can give our time. We can help out at the food bank. I know my church and my small group at church gives collections and money throughout the year to both of the organizations that I was giving to as well, or we were given to as well, as part of our tithing. Now let's look at the expenses here. I have a tithing check here for $203 that we are giving to our church. Big part of who me and my husband are giving, and when I show these numbers, I'm showing them as an example to show others that, hey, tithing is good and it's a positive thing and it can work with any budget and at any level. So that's why I do tithing, and I share it here, and it helps me keep track of the numbers. This is just real life, me showing you real life, and this is what we do. We also tithe to a family that are missionaries, $256.75. We've been tithing this for a long time, several years now, because this is their source of income from us and many others who give to them specifically. The next thing we have is my husband's Roth. His name is Eric. I don't really mention his name very often, but we're both contributing $665, and I'm contributing $665 to the Roth. It'll fully fund it by the end of the year, and I think we only need to put like $20 each to kind of offset what this number to make it $8,000. We're over 50, so we can contribute $8,000, and that is exciting. Mortgage, $1,972.96. This will change, which means I'm going to have to force the budget to work with a new amount because of escrow. There might be a shortfall in escrow this year, which there has been every year I've ever had a home. So, but property values are changing. I don't have the information yet, but once I do, I will start making those changes going forward. Next, I have Spectrum, which is our internet, and that's $109.99. And then Amazon Music, my husband uses all the time, $10.56. HP Ink, Instant Ink, $7.41 subscription. YouTube Premium subscription. I love this. It don't have commercials. So that helps with the flow of when you watch something. It's not getting disrupted because when you're watching videos on YouTube, they're not timed to kind of go down for a commercial and then come back up again in their storyline. So it's kind of weird and it disrupts it. So my son told me that. I was like, yeah, you're right. I didn't realize that's what was happening, why commercials aggravate me so much when I watch YouTube videos. So this is a really good thing for us. Hulu Plus is our streaming everything anything we want to watch is on Hulu. Hulu Live, then Disney Plus and ESPN Plus. So we have all the pluses and no commercials on whatever we could get. So that's $175, and then Geico dropped quite a bit. I mean, from $177 to $155, so that's a pretty good drop there, and I'm happy about it. I'm not quite sure why they did it, but I'm happy about it. And then I have water. Our water bill was still a little high from a water leak we had in December, and it's still, had to pay the rest of it. So it should drop in January below $50, which is what we were paying before the pipe leaked. But that's $65.76. We got the leak fixed, and we're being very diligent because it's very cold here. I woke up this morning and it was 9 degrees outside, so it was really cold. And we've had snow on the roads. The first couple days was not good, but now you can get around. It's not a problem. You just have to be extra careful and watch out for black ice. So we haven't really been spending a lot of money. You'll see that reflected in our variable spending over here. But our water, I have been dripping our faucets to make sure the pipes don't freeze over. And we have a pipe burst because I don't want another plumbing bill. I don't want to have to go through that. So we have $4,239.09. That is what we actually spent. So it's less than what we budgeted, which is nice. And now we're going to move on to our expenses here for our variable. So I always show this when I do this part. Our variable comes from our weekly check-in. So our weekly check-in spent, if I want to know what we spent, I take our grocery household spent here in week 1 and week 2 for paycheck 1, and that total gives me exactly what I need to put as far as what we spent in grocery household. So $449.63 plus $139.22 gives us $588.85. That is what we spent in paycheck 1 time period. So I'm just going to go ahead and write the numbers. I have them off screen here, and get those put in, and you'll see the difference of what I had left. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm done. So we spent in grocery household total, like I showed you before, $588.85, and then restaurants were $209.44. Miscellaneous was $74.97. Gasoline was $55.28, and copays, which is pharmacy prescription copays or doctor visit copay, $188. So that is where we're at now, and that is $930.42. Significantly less than what I budgeted, mainly because we couldn't get out of the house, mainly because I did spend over $400 in grocery household on the first week, so I didn't have as much to spend on the second week, and we were snowed and I didn't leave the house much, or at all, hardly. I've only driven once since the 5th of January, so I haven't left the house. It's been 10 days, and I drove once, and then my husband has been driving me to the grocery store to do grocery pickups. So that's where we've been saving our money this month, and it's been a low spend month, so it's been refreshing to do that and kind of slow down a bit on the spending and make sure we have enough for the entire month. So let's look at the numbers. So I need to balance forward a certain amount of money to paycheck 2 in order to cover all the bills, and then take the paycheck there for the bills and spending as well. So I need to make sure everything's covered for the entire month, and that means I have to balance forward, I think, at least $1,000 or $1,100 from paycheck 1 to paycheck 2, roughly. So that's where we're at. So let's go ahead and do the numbers. We have $6,675.16 that we have an income that actually came in, and then we actually paid for $4,239.09 in fixed expenses. And then we have $930.42 in variable expenses. So we have plenty of money going over $1,505.65. It's hard to write on the coil here. So that is the balance forward to paycheck 2. And this is how I know how much money I have going throughout the month, is I plan certain numbers for the budget for variable spending. I already know my actuals. They don't really fluctuate too much. We did have a little bit of fluctuation in a couple bills, but not so much that we couldn't cover the cost. And overall, they went down. So that was good. Everything stayed the same. This was not as high, obviously, as what we could have spent, and we didn't. So we're good for paycheck 2. So let's write that going in here. We have $1,505.65, and that is the actual. So I'm just going to write it over here. Sorry, that should be a check mark because they're exactly the same. So I already know how much my husband got paid because he got paid today. I'm filming this on the 15th, so this will go up probably, I think I do my paychecks on Saturdays. So a few days after the 15th, this will go up, but this is what he actually got paid, and it was $1,000. I had to get my notes. All right, $1,418.75. Now I have been doing $1,412 as our budget, and this is obviously higher than that, so it's $6.75 higher, which kind of offset the 9 cents we lost on the first paycheck. So we still made more than what I planned. It just didn't fall the same as it normally does. So I want to put 0 budgeted for other because I have nothing that I can think of that I'm planning on having come in from any income source, so that's just going to remain 0. If something does happen to come in, I always add it in over here. So let's get our income amount that we're working with for the rest of the month. We're looking at $2,924.40. There we go. Now we have our expenses, and this is our fixed and this is our variable. And our fixed expenses are budgeted amount $203 in our tithing for this paycheck period, and then AT&T. I've already seen the bill for AT&T, and that is $286.13. This does not include my phone that I'm about to get. They're not going to do the extra charge until February because I'm not getting the phone in my hand until after the first of the next month. So I ordered it. I don't know. It's coming. It's coming. Sinking funds. So this is cash I transfer from my checking account into a specific savings account for annual expenses. And so sinking funds here this month is $405.27. I do have a sinking funds video if you want to go check that out. I think I put one out this month. Pretty sure I did. And you can see what I planned on for this month, and then what's going to come out you'll see in my closeout videos. I usually do a sinking funds closeout, and then I do an end of the month closeout for paycheck 2 and weekly check-in and paycheck 2 for the last week of the month and the last day of the month. So that should be out probably on the 30th of this month. Life insurance one, that's for me, my husband, and my youngest son. We're all covered under that, is 87. Looked at the wrong number. 87. 56. And then life insurance 2, which is my oldest son. We have life insurance on him. $33.16. Electric this month was $176.82, is $1.82 more than I planned, but we had $109 more in income than we expected, so that was fine there. My husband's bill is $39.17. Apple.com, that is my storage on my phone, $299, and then our home security system, $65.82. There we go. All right, so I do need to highlight what is our bills that go to the credit card really quick. I'm going to do the same as I did over here, but even though I don't like it, let's see, our AT&T bill goes into the credit card, and this one goes to the credit card, this one goes to the credit card. I think that's it. Yeah, that's the only ones that are going to the credit card. So that reminds me that I got to make sure those are the ones that are getting paid. in my weekly check-ins once they pop up on the credit card. So that's how I typically pay that. Everything else comes directly out of the checking account. That's just how I have that set up. So let's total these numbers here for expenses on our fixed expenses. All right, so we're looking at a total of $1,299.92. That is what we're going to budget for these expenses. So this is automatically a no-go for spending out of this almost $3,000 here. So that chunk, I know it's already spent because these bills are going to come out. Over here, grocery household, this is what I have left in the checking account as far as my variable spending, what I planned on our total spendings to be. So we are looking at $911.15 budgeted for grocery household. We have $340.56 in restaurants. Miscellaneous, $85.03. Gasoline, $194.72. Copay is $73.12, and unbudgeted is $0. That's only a placeholder if I use all the buffer of the checking account, which I don't have a lot of buffer in the checking account to cover anything, so I'm not worried about that. Usually things run smooth every month, so I don't have to really think about it. I just like to have it there in case I had to. Change where money is coming from, whether it's checking account or savings account. If it lands in the checking, I need to account for it. So that's why I haven't budgeted there. And I'm just used to having it. So we're going to do our estimated balance forward. Whether we balance it, I shouldn't have done that. Whether we balance this number forward to the next month or whether we pay off debt on the credit card, that is the goal this month, is to find room in the budget to pay off the credit card a little more, considering I put that hotel charge on the debt side of things. I really don't like having consumer debt. It's really driving me bananas, but things are really tight, so I just really have to be careful. So grocery household, I'm going to total all this up and find out how much I have budgeted for that, and then we'll go on from there. All right, so I'm looking at a lot of money here, $1,604.58. More than likely, I will not spend that much. I do want to stock up on some groceries and kind of see where we're at on groceries in our pantry and our freezer, because we're running low on some things that I really need to stock up on. I have a feeling that if I don't have enough in a category like miscellaneous or I think miscellaneous and restaurants are the only two. Restaurants I'm not that concerned about. Miscellaneous I'm concerned about. So if I don't have enough in miscellaneous, I'll probably have to use grocery household to take care of it. So that'll be reflected in the budget as I go along, and I'll just keep that in mind on how much we need every week. But I do want to stock up on some meats and some pantry staples and stuff like that and go from there. And this is definitely enough. I think... I don't know. We'll see how much we have at the end of the month. I'm hoping we don't spend more than $1,400. So if I take $1,400 out of here, I can make a goal of at least $204.58. What this number here, at least $200 to pay down the credit card, or to pay for what the charge was, and a little bit more than that for the hotel that I booked in April. So that would be really, really good, and take that debt off. That'd be awesome, and then pay a little bit more down on our last year vacation debt. This is why you shouldn't use credit card. You should use cash only. Thankfully, we're not getting charged any interest on our credit card because we pay it off weekly, and it never has time to accrue anything to charge interest on. But I feel like we're getting behind, and we might need to pause the credit card thing. I don't know. But I got to get that debt paid off again. So, yeah, we're looking at a little bit of cash left over on our estimated balance. So I have $2,924.40 minus the $1,299.92 and minus the $1,604.58. Okay, $19.90. So I might as well just say $20 here. That's kind of my buffer right now. And we'll see what the end of the month looks like. So if there's cash left over at the end of the month, I'm definitely going to put it towards the debt. I'm not going to carry it into the next month just because I want to add money to that debt and get that number smaller and smaller until it's gone. I can have it paid off before the end of the year at over $1,600 if I do $140 a month, but it doesn't look like I can always do that. So we'll see what happens. But that's all I have for right now. And that's my Paycheck 1 closeout and my Paycheck 2 setup. I'm all prepared for the rest of the month. I know what my numbers are. I know what my bank account should look like based on how much cash is in there, how much I know is going to come out, and then what I actually can use cash for our spending. So that is how I run my budget. I hope this helps you and blesses you in some way to take care of your finances and your budget as we go through the month. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more of my videos, please subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Have an amazing and blessed day. Bye.
I'm looking up from my window. Sun's coming up like the day before. You're like a stone on my pillow. I don't make a sound when I shut the door.